Imagine a time when the Earth didn't look anything like it does today. No separate continents, no Atlantic Ocean, no familiar shapes of Africa, Asia, or the Americas. Instead, a single massive landmass ruled the planet, Pangea. It stretched from pole to pole, a vast unified supercontinent surrounded by a single, endless ocean called Panthalassa. But beneath this ancient unity lay a silent terror. Because while Pangea might sound like a geologist's dream, it was in fact one of the most violent, unstable, and dangerous eras our planet has ever known. For nearly 160 million years, Pangea stood as the defining feature of Earth's surface, but it was far from peaceful. Life on Earth during this time faced some of the harshest conditions imaginable. Volcanic activity surged. Oceans turned into acidic death traps. Oxygen levels plummeted. And when the extinction events came, they were so severe that over 90% of species vanished, leaving behind a world barely recognizable, gasping for a second chance. The nightmare begins roughly 335 million years ago. Driven by tectonic forces, the continental plates crashed together with unimaginable force, welding land into one continuous expanse. Mountain ranges erupted from the ground, including early versions of what would become the Appalachians and Urals. But the interior of this supercontinent wasn't teeming with life. It was a scorching wasteland. With no nearby oceans to regulate temperature, the center of Pangea baked under the sun during the day and froze at night. Droughts lasted decades. Wildfires scorched millions of square miles. Life here wasn't just hard, it was nearly impossible. But even that wasn't the worst of it. Deep within the Earth, pressure was building. And around 252 million years ago, something catastrophic happened. A series of massive volcanic eruptions in what is now Siberia released trillions of tons of carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere. These eruptions didn't last for days or weeks. They raged for thousands of years, and the aftermath was apocalyptic. Global temperatures soared by over 10°. Oceans, once full of oxygen and life, began to suffocate. Warmer water holds less oxygen, and with the climate spiking, vast stretches of the sea became dead zones. Marine creatures gasped for air as the oceans turned into stagnant, toxic pools. Coral reefs disintegrated. Entire ecosystems collapsed. On land, acidic rains fell like death, poisoning plants and soil. Even the air was toxic, thick with ash and gas that choked lungs and blocked sunlight for generations. This was the Permian-Triassic extinction event, the worst mass extinction in Earth's history. Not even the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs came close to this level of devastation. More than 90% of marine species and 70% of land vertebrates were wiped out. Forests vanished from the fossil record. Insects disappeared in massive numbers. It was as if Earth hit a reset button, erasing nearly everything that had come before. The sheer scale of destruction during Pangea's reign wasn't just about volcanoes. The massive size of the supercontinent disrupted Earth's climate systems. With one enormous landmass, moisture couldn't easily travel inland, meaning deserts stretched across vast regions. The extreme weather swings created a constant fight for survival. Evolution during this time wasn't a slow, graceful process. It was brutal, chaotic, and desperate. Only the most adaptable could make it through. And then there were the predators. With limited habitats and resources, competition was fierce. Giant amphibians, early reptiles, and terrifying proto-mammals hunted each other relentlessly. The dominant predator for a time was a fearsome beast known as Dimetrodon, a reptilian creature with a sail on its back and jaws strong enough to crush bone. These weren't the dinosaurs we're used to. These were their monstrous, more primitive ancestors, survivors of a world gone mad. Even after the initial cataclysm, recovery was slow. For millions of years, life on Earth limped along. Ecosystems remained fragile. Food chains were unstable. And just when life began to find balance again, another blow came: the Triassic-Jurassic extinction. Again, volcanic activity, this time from the Central Atlantic magmatic province, spewed carbon dioxide into the air. Sea levels rose, temperatures climbed again, and another wave of species disappeared forever. But not all life perished. Out of this era of fire and fury came the survivors that would reshape Earth: early dinosaurs, mammals, and marine reptiles. They emerged not because conditions were ideal, but because they could withstand the chaos. The dinosaurs in particular would go on to dominate the planet for the next 160 million years. But their rise came at the cost of everything that came before. Evolution, it seems, demands sacrifice. Pangea's existence also altered ocean currents and airflows, throwing global weather patterns into disorder. Hurricanes, monsoons, and megastorms battered the coasts. Ocean upwelling systems failed. And the long isolation of inland regions meant many species evolved in strange, isolated ways, creating bizarre, nightmarish life forms that thrived in toxic conditions. Some of the strangest fossils ever discovered come from this time: armored fish with no jaws, walking sharks, and giant millipedes the size of modern crocodiles. But perhaps the most haunting part of Pangea's legacy is this: it's not over, because Earth's tectonic plates are still moving, slowly but surely, and one day, hundreds of millions of years from now, they will collide again to form a new supercontinent. Scientists have already given it a name: Pangea Proxima, the next great unification of Earth's land masses. And while we won't be around to see it, our distant descendants may have to face the same chaos, the same violence, the same mass extinctions that once scorched Pangea's surface. History, as it turns out, may be more circular than we think. As you stare up at the sky tonight, remember this: the ground beneath your feet was once fused to every other continent on Earth. The soil, the rocks, the mountains, they all bear the scars of a time when the planet was whole, and life hung by a thread. The era of Pangea was not just a chapter in our history, it was a warning that even unity on a planetary scale cannot shield life from nature's fury. That Earth, in its oldest and most primal form, is a place of both creation and annihilation. So if you found this journey through time fascinating, if you want to explore more terrifying truths buried in Earth as past, and what they mean for our future, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We've only scratched the surface of what this planet is capable of. From ancient oceans that boiled with poison to skies filled with methane clouds and rain that burned the skin, Earth has never been gentle, and it never will be. Stay curious, stay questioning, because the story of Earth is still unfolding, beneath us, around us, and far beyond what we think we know.